AI is excellent at creating presentation content, but most slides come out as manual text boxes and random shapes. So if you want to enhance your presentations with custom shapes, or you want to create design consistency with image placeholders, you will have to do it yourself. So in this video, I'll show you 2 ways to enhance your presentation with custom images. And these are the exact methods I use in my commercial templates and custom client projects. Plus, how to reduce the file size if you have too many images in your presentation. So let's start with option 1, and that is the front-end design, how to customize occasional images using manual formatting. Manual formatting is a great option if you have a short presentation or you want to put the occasional image and you don't care about repeating the design ever again. In that case, you can do whatever you want. And with PowerPoint, there are 3 ways to add manual images to your slide. We have the custom shape method, we have the cropped image method, and we have the custom SVG method. So let's start with the simple option, which is the custom shape. So if you're using PowerPoint and you want to create a custom shape for your image and do everything in PowerPoint, then this option is for you. All you have to do is click on Insert, choose an option, choose any graphics. For example, if I choose this shape, you'll notice that PowerPoint gives me some customization. Most of the shapes have some slight corner adjustments. However, what happens if I want to do a slightly more customization? So if you're a designer and you know how to work with vector graphics, you can right click and choose the edit point options. And now this becomes a vector graphic, very much like Illustrator or Corel Draw or similar programs. You can see here you can adjust the corners. So this is more for the advanced designers, and you can see here you can create any custom shape you want. However, for now we're going to keep it simple, and I'm going to use this particular shape. And now if you want to add an image to this shape, there are 2 ways, and you get to choose the one that you prefer. Option 1 is you right click on the shape and you choose a format shape. And you're going to see here that on the side now I have the panel, and right away PowerPoint is seeing it as a shape. It has a solid. You can choose gradient if you want, or you can choose the picture. But notice what's going to happen when I click on picture. Now PowerPoint is using the picture as a background, so the picture is not necessarily there. So if somebody is using the file and they click on the solid color again and now they go to the picture, they might not get the same picture. That's because PowerPoint is using the last picture that you inserted on your slide. So you can see here this is going to create a little bit of confusion if somebody else is editing the file. And also you can see here it's squished. So if you want to adjust the image, you're going to have to click here on the image menu and choose the crop and spend time adjusting it here with the numbers. So that's why I don't personally like this method. However, I have seen so many of my client projects use this method, and that's why I'm recording it to tell you there is a better way. Now the better way is to use the intersect, and with the intersect you have slightly more control. So I'm going to keep the shape here and I'm going to add the image. So let me show you how that works and how this gives you slightly more control. So I'm going to click here on the picture and I'm going to add the picture to my slide. So now I have the picture and the shape. So I'm going to move the picture around. I'm going to resize it so that we have it right over the image. And I'm going to right click and say send to back. So now I have the shape and I have the picture in the background. And in order to intersect them, I need to use this menu. I'm going to click here on the shape and I'm going to go to this menu. Here you can see here if I hover it says merge shape. However, it's grayed out, and it's grayed out because I'm only clicking on one item. To activate this menu, I need to be clicking on both items. And usually with PowerPoint, the item you click on first becomes dominant. So that's why I'm going to click on the image first, and then I'm going to click on the shift and choose the shape. So now I have both items selected, and notice now when I click on the menu again, it is active. And now I have these 5 options. In this case, I'm going to choose the intersect. So now the image is inside the shape and nobody is going to delete it. So if I go in here and say solid, nobody is going to be able to recolor it again because it has become a picture. So I prefer this method because then that way no one is going to overwrite my picture. Plus, I like it because I can right click and say crop, and now I can readjust the size. So I personally prefer this method, but you get to choose which one you like and which one works for you. The second method is the cropped image method, and that is you add an image to your slide and then you can crop it. So you can use a simple crop or you can use an advanced crop. Now the simple crop is you can right click and you can click here on the option crop, and now you can resize it. So for example, in this case, we don't need that much width. We just want to show the woman with the mobile device. And now I have something. I can really place it here on this slide and it's already looking much better. But what if you want to take it up a notch and you want to add some advanced corners to the image? Well, you can still do that, but not from the shapes menu because this is now a picture. So in this particular case, we're going to click on the picture and we're going to choose the crop here, and you'll notice that there is a crop option that says crop to shape. So if I do that and now I click on this shape, notice now how the picture now has some reactive borders. So you can go through the options here and you can choose any shape. So let's choose something different so that we can give it a different look, and you can see here it's going to make it a lot more interesting. Now the difference between the two, the shape or the cropped image, is that with the shape you can create more advanced shapes. For example, if I click here on the shape and I can draw it, I can right click and then there's this edit points menu. So you can see here this is going to give me slightly more advanced customization before I add the image. And this is what you can do with the shape. But with the picture you don't have that option. So if I right click, I don't have the edit point option. The only option I have with the picture is to crop it or to go into the advanced cropping and use some of these shapes. So if these shapes can solve your problems, then this method will work for you. If you want more advanced customization, then create the shape first. And this brings me to the third option, which is the custom SVG. SVG means scalable vector graphics. So if you're a web or graphic designer, you already know what this file format is, and you probably know how to create one yourself using Adobe Illustrator or CorelDRAW or Figma. But if you're not a designer, you can buy them. There are millions of SVG files that you can buy online. In this particular example, I'm going to be using a file that I created, an SVG file. So I'm going to click here, and I already have it saved on my computer, and I'm going to bring it into PowerPoint. But before I can convert it into an image, there's a few extra steps I need to do. First of all, I need to put it in the right location. And because it is overlapping the footer, which means I have to move the footer. So now I have the right location, but there is still one more step I need to do, and that is convert it to a format that PowerPoint understands. Because right now, if I click on it, I'm not going to get that format shape menu. You can see here, let me just show you the difference. So if I click here on a shape from PowerPoint, you'll notice it says shape format, and this is going to give me that option to use the intersect. But if I click on an SVG, that option is not available. So that's why I need to, first of all, right click and say convert to shape. And now it's a format that PowerPoint understands. You can see here it says format shape, and now this menu here, you see, remember this one, we used the intersect. Before I use it, in this case, I'm going to use the union because I want to combine them. So now I've combined them, they become one shape that PowerPoint understands. And now I can repeat exactly what I did here and add a picture to this shape. So let me just show you quickly. I'm going to click on the picture from file. I'm going to choose the first image. We're going to move that to the back here, kind of like what I did before. Right click, send to back, and now I have the image selected. I'm going to shift and choose the shape here as well, and then we're going to click on the shape format. If you remember, we did that before, and this time it's intersect. So now you can see how I have the picture inside a custom shape. The advantage with manual formatting is you have more flexibility, you can adjust the layout, and it's ideal for occasional presentations. but it is harder to maintain consistency. So if you start sharing the file with your teams, chances are people are going to move around the image and it's not going to be in the same location all the time. So it can create misalignment. And also, if you click on the slide and you delete it, well, it's goodbye. You cannot repeat the same design again. So if you have repetitive designs and you want consistency, then you're going to have to choose option 2, which is the theme-based design. How to customize repetitive designs using theme-based image options. With a theme, you are creating fixed designs using the back end of the presentation. So when you click on layout, you'll be able to see the different theme layout options that are available in your templates. Right now, I'm using the Momentum template from my store. And this template is advanced. That's why it has a lot of theme layouts. For the cover slide options, there are 3 fixed. So let me show you what's the difference between the fixed and the image placeholders. Now, the fixed is an image that you pre-select for your team. So if I want my team to always use this image in this particular layout, then I will add it as a fixed image. And you can also give them an option where it's a center title. So now all they have to do is just change the text. Everything else is in place. Or maybe you want a fixed image, but you want the text to be on the side and the logo to be on the side. So now everything is pre-designed. All they have to do is update the text. So that is a fixed image that you would usually use for a cover slide. Now, another option that you can use with a theme is image placeholders. And image placeholders makes it easy for your team to choose another image. So why keep them limited? This is where they can click on now the device, choose any image source. In this case, I'm going to choose the usual one here from this demo, and I'm going to click insert, and the image right away takes up shape. You'll notice that the logo doesn't move because that's part of the theme. It's already there. However, the text boxes and the images can move. But if they mess it up and they make a mistake, all they have to do is click on reset, and notice because it's a theme, everything snaps back into place. Now, the placeholders also come in handy for different applications. So for example, the contact page. I like to give my clients different options. A contact page that could be just a shape, if they just want to use a shape, or what if they need to add a custom image so that it stands out. Once again, we can use the same layout, and now we can have a contact page that has a specific image placeholders using smart art. So this is where now the theme can help you speed up the design process. With the theme, you can also have quick interchangeable layouts. So if you are in an internal meeting and you have an image with some text, well, maybe some people cannot read the text at the bottom. This would look good if it's a print presentation, but what happens if you're in a meeting and you want the text to be at the top? Well, you can quickly change layouts, and now the text is the top. As long as the content buckets in the theme match, then you'll be able to do that interchangeable layout. You'll see here it's going to give you that flexibility to choose different layouts quickly as long as the content buckets match. You can also change layouts here. So for example, they look like they're going off screen. What if I want to change the image and put them on the left? With a theme, I can quickly do that. You can see here, that's where the interchangeable layout works. Or what happens if I want to add a collage, not just one image. So in this particular case, I'm going to click on insert from device, and I'm going to click 4 images because I have 4 content image placeholder, and I'm going to click insert, and you'll notice right away they take up the right position. And if I don't like this placement, I can quickly change. So that's where image placeholders help. Or if I have this centered image here, I have also a quick way to add it. I'm going to click and drag an image. And then in this case, I need to do slightly more customization. So I'm going to click on Format Picture, and I'm going to go into the brightness, reduce the brightness, and you can see here how I'm creating faster presentations. Image placeholders can also work for complex slide like case studies. So for example, this particular template has 6 case study layouts depending on the application. In this case, we've got the image and we've got the top title. Now notice, because everything is in the theme, all I have to do is click on reset and everything snaps, and the image is always in the right location. So this is how you make consistent or content that you use on a regular basis, or you want your team to have a consistent look. If if you give them theme layouts, this is where the speed could happen. And the themes, if they are set up properly and you're using interchangeable themes, you can quickly move slides around. So for example, this template momentum comes with 12 different themes. So I've got the sidebar in this case with the sidebar on the right. Well, what if I'm going to a conference and I don't want a sidebar, but I want to keep this look and I don't want to spend time moving things around? Well, then in this case, all I have to do is click and drag and take it over to the darker template, which is the momentum dark. And now I have the layout. And then if things don't reset quickly, I just have to click on reset. Notice how everything snaps in place. The footer did not adjust. That's okay. I can click delete, insert, reinitiate the footer. So I'm going to add the slide number again. And there it is, quick layout. So you can see here, this is where the image placeholders can help. So the difference here with the theme is you have the theme layouts. But if you remember the one we were looking at, the one before, so this is a file that was generated by Claude. So this is Claude AI. Now notice if I click on the layout, well, there is no theme. So if I go into the back end of the presentation, there is zero customization. And so yes, AI is helping a lot. It's creating slides, but a lot of the work is manual formatting. So if you have a short presentation and you are okay with generic boxes for now to get your idea, this is okay. But if you want to systemize your designs, then the best option is to create a custom theme. So let's take a closer look and see how we can update both options. How do we create a theme, image placeholders, and how do we update these fixed images? So if you want to change the theme, we're going to have to go into the View Slide Master. Now from the Slide Master, this is where you can customize the theme to match your brand. So if you want an advanced tutorial on that, check out my YouTube video, Theme Customization. For now, we're just concerned with the images. So with the theme, you've got the fixed images that you can change. We've got 3 in this particular template, and image placeholders. So let's start with the images. Now, if you don't have an image, you can click and drag and put your image. But if you're updating an existing image, then all you have to do is right click. Oops, I don't know why I did that. Right click, change picture from file, find the picture that you want. In this case, I'm going to click on this one, insert, and now the picture is changed. And you can repeat the same process for this one. Now, in this case, this picture has a mask on top. So if you are comfortable, you can move it and update the picture. But if you want to keep everything in place and see what's on the slide, here's a trick that can save you time. Click on the Arrange menu, choose Selection pane, and then you'll see here the layers. So if you've used Photoshop or Illustrator, then you're familiar with layers, and layers can show you what's on the slide. So I can temporarily hide the mask and go to the picture so that way I can see it, change picture from file, and then let's change that here. And then once I'm done, I can put the mask back on. And if I want to make adjustments to the mask, this is a shape. So all you have to do is create a shape. That's what I did in case you're doing your own. And use the gradient fill. I made sure that the center is slightly darker so the text can be seen. It's up to you. If you need to adjust that, you can adjust here the transparency based on the image of your choice. And the same thing with this one. This one actually also has a gradient mask, but it's only on the side. So you can see here, if you want the text on the side, make sure you put something on top of your images. Now for the custom shape, you can do the same thing. So I'm going to right click and say change picture from a file, and let's choose the other picture. And you can see here it's very easy, and because it's fixed and on the back end in the theme, these are going to become permanent and you won't lose them. Now, if you wanted to create a custom image placeholder, we're going to do exactly what we did with the shapes before. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to duplicate the layout just for now for the example and delete the image. And let's say this is where we want to put our placeholder. Now, once again, you can keep it simple. You can click on the slide master. So rather than the shape, click on the slide master, click on the insert, choose the picture. If you're on a Mac, you probably see fill and fit. If you're on a PC, you might only see one option. But if you see both, pick the fill. So just click here and drag and add. So now you have an image placeholder. And this is now, because we're on the theme, I can adjust the footer. So if this is my image placeholder and there's nothing below, then I would want my footer to be over here. So this should be fine. And just like we did with the shapes, I can click on it, click on the shape and click on the chain shape, and then I can choose different sizes. So you can see here, you can still do some customization by using the shapes that come out of the box from PowerPoint. But what happens if I have a custom shape like the one I have here and I want to make that my image placeholder? Then that should be fine too. So I'm going to make this image placeholder bigger because I'm going to keep it. Why delete it? And then I'm going to bring in this shape. So I'm going to show you, even if we have something customized, we can still do that and place it. And now, once again, because I have the footer, I need to make sure the footer is moved so that it works well with the graphic. It's not overlapping. So now I've got my image placeholder and the shape. And if you can't see them, click again on the selection pane so you can see it. You can see here I've got my image placeholder and the graphic. So make sure that you click on the image placeholder first, then the graphic, then go into the intersect. And now you have an image placeholder. And if you like to keep things clean, like I do here, just move it and rename it. I like to call it placeholder. So in the future, if I am working on the file, I can see which is a placeholder. And if you want to take it up a notch and add instructions, I like to add a little instructions so that people know they can crop. So I have my standard text that I add to all my image placeholders. Just go in here, remove the bullets, move it to the left, edit, paste special, unformatted. So now if somebody is getting and looking at the slide on the front end, they can see the instructions and they have the custom image placeholders. So I don't need to, so I'm going to delete it for this demo. But now you know how to update the fixed and how to create custom image placeholders. Now, everything has advantages and disadvantages. So when it comes to theme, the advantage is that you get consistency. You can have faster migration between themes, especially if they're interchangeable, and you get that snap in place button. Remember that one? When you move things around and you reset, things snap back into place. Now, the disadvantages is limited layout flexibility. So anything that is fixed is going to be hard to move. And sometimes even with image placeholders, if you move them around, they don't, you can see here the image is going to get stretched, so it can get a little bit finicky with the flexibility. Themes work best for fixed layouts. Another thing is the image placeholder is always on top. So I always get that question from clients: can you create an image placeholder like the one here? You can see here it's an image placeholder and have the logo at the same time. And right now that option is not available because PowerPoint always puts the image placeholder on top of the graphic. Let me show you what I mean. So if I go into the slide master and I look at the slide, you can see here I have the logo. It is on top of the image placeholder, but when I take it to the front end, PowerPoint is not allowing me to do that. So you can see here, and if I move the image placeholder, the logo is there, it's fixed, but somehow PowerPoint always puts the image on top. So that could be a downside of the theme with the image placeholders. And that's why I've created these custom layouts here, more specifically this one, because that is a common request from my clients is, can I have the logo on a center? So in that case, it has to be a fixed image. Now, another disadvantage is it can contaminate your theme. So if you notice here, we have a theme, we've got these custom layouts. Well, what happens if you open another file like this one here? So this is another theme now, completely different. It is one of the new themes from PowerPoint, and you can see the layouts are different. So for example, I don't have this statement layout in my theme. If I click and drag and bring it over, I'm creating contamination. You can see here now my theme got contaminated with an extra layout that does not match my template. So it looks different. I don't know why something is wrong. It's not even showing the header and footer. Maybe they have a hidden background. Let's see. Hide background. No, I'm not sure why it's not even picking up. So you can see here it created a contamination. So that's why I'm going to delete it. Let's see if it deleted it. Sometimes when you do, it is gone, but sometimes even if you delete the file, the contamination is there. So if you're trying to decide what is going to be the best option for your team, I would say if you are a solopreneur, 1 or 2 people in the company, you have short presentations, manual formatting can work for short presentation, occasional and custom product images. But if you have a growing team and you want consistent layout, you have longer presentations, you need a sidebar and growing teams and departments, then having a theme is the same. It's going to be a much better option for you, especially if you have content slides like this one. Now, what happens if you have too many images in your file and the file is getting bigger? So let me show you some image optimization options, how they work, and the advantages and disadvantages. Now, the first advantage with the image optimization is the cropping option. So let's say we've got this image here. If I click on reset, notice that the image moved. Now, I can click on crop and move it, but if I want to prevent this image from moving, I can use the optimization option. So I'm going to click on the image, go to the picture format, and I have this option here, the drop down menu, and it's the compress image. So there's 2 options I can do here. I can compress the image. First of all, let me show you the options. The 2 options are, first of all, I can change the size. So from the high definition to print to screen, email. If you choose email, it's going to be the smallest file size. So if you're planning to email it or just use it internally, this could be a good option. If you're going to a conference and you want it to be slightly sharper, maybe the on-screen. So test which one works best for you. In this case, let's just choose the on-screen. And you'll notice another option below, delete cropped area of the picture. Now, this one has advantages and disadvantages. Now, in this case, it's going to be an advantage. Notice what's going to happen. And I'm making sure that I'm select picture only. I don't want to apply this treatment to all the pictures yet. I highly recommend you do this one picture at a time. So I'm going to click on OK, and notice what happens now. If I click on reset, nothing moves. This image is in place. So in this particular situation, this is a good option. Now, the compress image is not a good option when you have a custom shape. So let me go to this image here. Now, this is the custom image that was created earlier. So you can see this image. Now, if I right click and say change picture from file, this is going to work. Let me just show you. The shape stays the same. Now, notice what's going to happen. If I click on the picture and say compress picture, and if I say delete areas, it's going to be fine, but it's also going to create a problem when I try to replace the image. Notice why. Let's say I'm going to say replace. Now you think nothing has happened, but if I try to click on the image and say change picture from file and choose the eye again, notice how now PowerPoint resized it to the image rather than the shape. So it ended up messing up the design. So that's why when you're using these features, test them out. And remember that if you delete the cropped areas, it works well for standard images. If you have a custom image, this could be a problem. And then test the options for print or email until you find the one that works for you. Congratulations, because now you know more about PowerPoint custom images, placeholders, and how to use them. But if you still need help or if you need a second opinion, you can check out some of my PowerPoint consulting and done-for-you services. You'll find all the links below this video. Otherwise, I'll see you in my next video. Till next time, ciao for now.